Family, let me tell you something real. Life is not always sunshine and smooth sailing. Storms will come. And sometimes the storm will hit harder than you ever imagined. But the question is not if the storm will come. The question is, who are you trusting when it does? See, trusting God in the storm doesn't mean the storm disappears. It means you learn how to stand, how to breathe, and how to keep moving even while the winds are raging. Let me break this down into 6 keynotes so you can carry this with you and live it out. Storms are a part of life, Cloud. You can't avoid storms. You can't pray them all away. Some storms are there to test you, shape you, and stretch you. Just like a seed has to break before it grows, you have to go through storms to find your strength. When you accept that storms are part of the journey, you stop panicking and start preparing. Faith is built in the storm-folded hands. Anybody can praise God when the bills are paid. The relationship is perfect, and the doors are opening. But faith is not proven in the sunshine, it's proven in the rain. Storms expose what you believe. When everything shakes, your faith is either shaken apart or solidified. Trusting God in the storm is what takes your faith from theory to reality. God's vision is bigger than your view eye in the storm. All you can see is darkness, rain, and clouds. But God sees beyond the storm. While you're focused on the waves crashing, He's already preparing the rainbow on the other side. Trust means believing that God has a plan even when your eyes can't see it. Storms teach you who you are. Flexed biceps. Pressure reveals character. Storms expose your patience, your habits, your resilience. They strip away the distractions and show you who you really are. But here's the good news. If you don't like what you see, storms give you the opportunity to grow into someone stronger, wiser, and more faithful. God's presence is greater than the storm rainbow. Sometimes the storm doesn't calm down right away. But even if the storm doesn't end, God can calm you. His presence gives you peace in chaos, hope in heartbreak, and strength in weakness. You may not control the storm, but you can trust the one who does. The storm is preparing you for your next season. Rock it. Don't waste the storm. Don't come out of it the same way you went in. Every storm has a lesson. Every storm is preparation. That storm you're in right now, it's not meant to destroy you. It's meant to develop you. Trusting God through it will launch you into your next level. Family, trusting God in the storm is not about denying your pain. It's about anchoring your hope. It's about saying, God, I don't understand it, but I trust you anyway. Because the truth is, storms don't last forever, but God's faithfulness does. And when you trust Him in the storm, you'll come out not just surviving, but thriving. Family, the first thing we need to understand is this: storms are a part of life. Too often we think something's wrong with us when we face a storm. We look around at other people's lives and say, why me? Why does it feel like I'm the only one going through this? But the truth is, storms are universal. Everybody has them. The difference is that some people hide theirs better than others. Behind the smile, behind the suit, behind the Instagram pictures, there are storms you don't see. So don't ever think you're alone just because you're in the middle of a hard season. A storm doesn't always mean you did something wrong. Sometimes it's not punishment, it's preparation. When a seed goes into the ground, it has to go through darkness before it sprouts. It doesn't grow in the light first. It grows in the soil, hidden away, pushed down, and pressured. That's the storm, but that same pressure is what activates the life inside the seed. In the same way, your storm is not sent to destroy you. It's sent to activate the greatness within you. Think about nature. Storms replenish the earth. Rain feeds the soil. Lightning puts nitrogen back into the ground, and winds move seeds from one place to another. In other words, storms bring growth. Without storms, the world would dry up. Without storms, nothing new could flourish. The same is true for your life. If every day was easy, you'd never grow. If nothing ever challenged you, you'd never change. And growth is never comfortable. It always comes with a storm attached. What makes storms so hard is that they're unpredictable. You can't always see them coming. One moment everything is calm, and the next moment you're fighting waves you didn't expect. But that's why trusting God is so important. Because if you depend only on your own strength, the storm will overwhelm you. But when you know storms are a natural part of life, you stop living in fear of them. You don't panic when the sky darkens. You prepare your heart. See, the storm is a teacher. It shows you things you couldn't learn in the sunshine. Patience, perseverance, faith, those are storm lessons. And if you run from every storm, you rob yourself of wisdom that could carry you into your destiny. Some of the greatest blessings in your life will be born from the storms you once wished away. The job you have now, the strength you carry, the faith you stand on, all of it was forged in some kind of storm. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What is this storm trying to teach me?" That's a mindset shift. That's growth. The storm is not your enemy, it's your trainer. It's the gym where your faith is exercised, your endurance is built, and your vision is clarified. Don't despise the storm. Learn from it, walk through it, and let it shape you into the person God designed you to be. Family, it's easy to say you have faith when everything in your life is smooth. It's easy to lift your hands, smile, and tell people how good God is when your bills are paid, your health is strong, and your relationships are in order. But that's not where real faith is built. Real faith is built when life feels like it's falling apart. It's built when you're staring at a stack of bills with no idea how they're getting paid. It's built when your body is tired, when the doctor gives you a report you didn't want to hear, when the people you trusted walked out on you. That's the moment where faith stops being just a word and becomes a lifeline. Faith is like a muscle. If you never put weight on it, it never grows. A muscle only grows through resistance, through the strain, the stretch, the pain. And the storm is life's resistance. The storm is where your faith is forced to work. That's why storms are necessary, because they take faith from theory to reality. It's one thing to say you believe God can make a way. It's another thing entirely to be in a situation where only God can make a way. That's when you find out if your faith is real. The truth is, storms strip you of your props. When the money runs out, when the friends disappear, when the answers you were leaning on don't show up, that's when you see what you really believe. No matter how deep the valley, His promises are always leading us forward. The storm asks you that question, and your faith answers it. What makes storms powerful is that they shift your focus. They force you to stop relying on your own strength and start leaning on God's strength. You see, if you could fix everything yourself, you wouldn't need faith. If you could control every outcome, you wouldn't need trust. But the storm shows you your limits, and that's a gift. Because when you realize your limits, you discover God's limitless power. That's when your faith begins to mature. Sometimes God doesn't calm the storm immediately because He's using it to build you. If every prayer was answered instantly, your faith would stay shallow. You wouldn't learn patience, you wouldn't develop endurance, and you wouldn't grow roots deep enough to withstand the next storm. By letting you sit in the storm for a while, God is teaching you how to trust Him not just when He delivers you, but even while you're waiting. That's real faith, trusting Him in the not yet. So don't despise the storm. Don't think your faith is failing because the storm is raging. Your faith is being built right there in the middle of it. The waves are your training ground, the thunder is your classroom, and the rain is watering the seeds of strength God has planted in you. When you come out of that storm, you won't just have faith. You'll have a faith that's been tested, stretched, and proven strong. And that kind of faith is unshakable. Family, one of the hardest things about going through a storm is the way it clouds your vision. When you're in the middle of it, all you can see is pain, confusion, and chaos. It's like being caught in heavy rain where the windshield wipers can't keep up. You can barely see what's right in front of you. That's how life feels in a storm, but here's the truth you've got to hold on to. Just because you can't see clearly doesn't mean God can't. Your view may be limited, but His vision is unlimited. See, we're human. We live in time. We only know what's right now, what's in front of us, what we've already experienced. But God exists outside of time. He sees the beginning, the middle, and the end all at once. While you're stressing about today's rain, He already sees the rainbow on the other side. While you're worried about how this setback is going to break you, He already knows it's the very thing that's going to make you. That's why trusting God's vision is so critical, because His perspective is not confined to your pain. Think about it like this. Imagine standing in front of a giant tapestry. Up close, all you can see are tangled threads, random colors, and knots that don't make sense. That's your view, but God's view is the full tapestry. He sees how every thread, every trial, every storm, every heartbreak comes together to create something beautiful. From your position, the storm looks like chaos. From His position, it looks like part of the masterpiece. When we go through storms, we often want answers right away. We want to know why it's happening, when it's going to end, and what good could possibly come out of it. But sometimes God doesn't give you the why right away. Because if you saw the full picture too soon, you might try to control it. You might shortcut the process. You might walk away from something that's actually working for your good. That's why faith is so important. It's the bridge between your limited view and God's limitless vision. The storm you're in may feel like it's delaying you, but what if it's actually directing you? What if the relationship that ended was God's way of making space for the right one? What if the job you lost was God's way of preparing you for your purpose? What if the delay you're frustrated about is actually divine protection? See, you're looking at the closed door in front of you, but God is already preparing the open door around the corner. That's why you've got to stop measuring your life by what you see and start trusting in what God sees. Because He sees beyond the storm, He sees your future, He sees your healing, He sees your breakthrough. And even when the sky is dark and your path feels hidden, He's guiding you step by step towards something greater than you could ever imagine. Trust His vision even when your view is clouded. Family, storms don't just come to shake your life. They come to reveal your life. They show you who you really are. It's easy to think you've got it all together when everything is calm. When people treat you right, when your finances are in order, when your health is strong, you look at yourself and say, I'm patient, I'm kind, I'm disciplined. But the storm has a way of testing that. Pressure will always reveal the truth. When life squeezes you, whatever's inside will come out. If you're full of fear, fear will pour out in the storm. If you're full of anger, anger will rise to the surface. If you're full of faith, then faith will show up even in the darkest hour. That's why storms are necessary. They strip away the masks. They show you your strengths, but they also expose your weaknesses. And the exposure isn't meant to shame you. It's meant to grow you. Because once you see the areas where you fall short, you now have the opportunity to work on them. The storm becomes a mirror. It reflects the real you. Maybe you thought you trusted God, but the storm shows you how quickly doubt creeps in. Maybe you thought you were patient, but the storm reveals you've got some growing to do. Maybe you thought you could handle adversity, but the storm shows you that your foundation wasn't as solid as you believed. That's not failure, that's awareness, and awareness is the first step toward transformation. Think about the strongest people you know. Their strength wasn't built in easy seasons, it was built in storms. The leader who inspires others probably learned resilience through rejection. The parent who holds their family together likely developed strength through hardship. The person you admire for their wisdom probably earned it by walking through storms that forced them to grow. Pressure produces diamonds, but only after it's applied with intensity. In the same way, storms produce character, but only when you endure them and allow the lessons to shape you. When you're in a storm, you have a choice. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can focus on what you've lost, or you can focus on what you're learning. You can let it harden your heart, or you can let it deepen your faith. The storm will reveal you, but what you do with that revelation is up to you. Here's the beauty of it. Storms don't just reveal who you are today. They also show you who you can become. They give you glimpses of the stronger, wiser, more faithful version of yourself that God is calling you to grow into. Every time you face a storm, you come out with a little more patience, a little more strength, a little more clarity. The storm that tried to break you actually builds you if you're willing to learn. So don't run from what the storm is showing you. Face it, grow from it, and let it mold you into the person you were created to be. Family, sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that trusting God means He will remove every storm immediately. But the truth is, not every storm ends when we want it to. Some storms stay longer than expected. Some storms keep raging no matter how much we pray for sunshine. And that can be discouraging if you're focused only on the storm. But here's the lesson. God's presence is greater than the storm. Even if the storm doesn't calm down right away, God can calm you in the middle of it. See, peace is not the absence of trouble, it's the presence of God. You can have chaos all around you and still carry peace within you when you know who's with you. It's like a child in a thunderstorm. If they're alone, they panic. But if their parent is right there beside them, holding their hand, the storm doesn't feel as scary anymore. The storm hasn't changed, but the presence of someone greater makes all the difference. That's exactly how God works in our lives. His presence doesn't always remove the storm, but it gives us confidence to endure it. Think about how many times you've been through something you thought you couldn't survive, yet somehow you made it. That wasn't luck, that was God carrying you. His presence was with you even when you didn't recognize it. Sometimes when life hurts, it's easy to feel like God is distant, but the truth is He's closest in your darkest hours. The very fact that you're still standing after everything you've faced is proof that His presence is stronger than the storm. Storms also have a way of shifting your dependence. When you've tried everything and nothing works, that's when you learn to lean on God fully. His presence becomes your anchor. While the winds blow and the waves crash, His peace steadies you. It doesn't mean you won't cry, it doesn't mean you won't feel pain, but it does mean you won't be consumed by it. His presence gives you strength beyond your own, courage you didn't know you had, and hope that outlasts the darkest night. The presence of God also changes your perspective. When you realize He's with you, the storm no longer defines you, it refines you. The storm goes from being something that scares you to something that grows you, because you know you're not facing it alone. That's why David could write, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." He didn't say the valley disappeared. He didn't say the shadows went away. He said God's presence made the valley bearable. So don't wait for the storm to end before you trust God. Learn to trust Him right in the middle of it. His presence is not just with you when skies are clear. It's with you when everything is falling apart. And when you truly believe that, you stop fearing the storm, because you know the one who is with you is greater than the storm against you. Family, every storm you face has a purpose attached to it. It may not feel like it when the winds are tearing at your life and the rain won't stop falling, but storms are not wasted seasons. They are preparation seasons. The storm you're in right now is not designed to destroy you. It's designed to develop you for what's ahead. God never allows pain without purpose, and every trial you walk through is equipping you for your next chapter. Think about an athlete in training. Before the big game, before the championship, they go through grueling practices, weightlifting sessions, and drills that push them to their limits. Those workouts are tough. Sometimes they even hurt. But the athlete understands that without the preparation, they won't have the strength, endurance, or discipline to succeed when it matters most. That's how storms work in our lives. They are the spiritual training ground that builds the muscles you'll need for your next season. The promotion you're praying for, the calling you feel in your heart, the dream you want to live out, all of it requires a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you. And storms are the process God uses to shape that version. You may feel like you're stuck, but you're actually being sharpened. You may feel delayed, but you're really being developed. The storm is not a setback, it's a setup. Storms also have a way of shifting your perspective. Sometimes we think we're ready for the next season, but God knows we still have lessons to learn. Maybe the storm is teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you how to forgive. Maybe it's building your endurance so that when the blessing comes, you won't crumble under the weight of it. The storm is preparing your character to match the size of your calling, because if your character can't carry it, the blessing will break you. Another powerful truth is this: storms clear out what doesn't belong in your next season. The people who left during your storm weren't meant to go with you to your next level. The habits that couldn't survive the storm weren't meant to remain in your life. The storm strips away what's unnecessary so you can walk lighter, freer, and more focused into what God has for you. And when you come out of the storm, you come out different. You're not the same person you were when you went in. You've got wisdom you didn't have before. You've got strength that only comes from surviving something hard. You've got a testimony that will inspire someone else walking through their own storm. The storm builds something in you that the sunshine never could. So don't despise the storm you're in right now. Don't think it's wasted time. Every tear, every trial, every sleepless night, it's all preparation. When the season shifts, you'll look back and realize that the very storm you thought would break you was the storm that built you for your next level. Family, if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that storms are not the end of you. They are the making of you. Life was never promised to be storm-free, but it was promised that you'd never walk through a storm alone. Every storm has a purpose. Every storm carries a lesson. And every storm is preparing you for something greater than you can see right now. When the winds rage and the rain falls, remember this: storms don't last forever, but what you learn in them will last a lifetime. The pain will pass, but the strength you gain will remain. The tears will dry, but the wisdom will carry you forward. And the very storm that tried to break you will become the testimony that builds someone else. Trusting God in the storm doesn't mean you won't feel afraid. It means you choose faith in the face of fear. It doesn't mean you won't cry. It means you cry with hope. It doesn't mean you won't stumble. It means you refuse to quit. Because you know the God who allowed the storm is the same God who will bring you through it stronger, wiser, and ready for your next season. So hold on, don't give up, don't let the storm convince you that it's the end of your story. This storm is temporary, but your destiny is permanent. Trust God even when you can't trace Him. Stand firm even when you feel weak. And believe that the same God who calms seas with a word can calm your heart with His presence. You're not just going to survive the storm, you're going to come out of it with a new strength, a deeper faith, and a greater testimony. And when you look back, you'll realize that the storm didn't stop you. It set you up for everything God had prepared for you. So trust Him, family. Trust Him in the sunshine. Trust Him in the shadows, and especially trust Him in the storm. Because the storm is not your end, it's your beginning.